Yeah. Milk.
I've had feces thrown on me. Everything you could possibly imagine has happened to me.
Not only do they have a new director coming in at the beginning of March, they introduced a plan that includes a lot of changes to make sure that animals have safer stays here.
Just to give the children a good view of the police.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Our top story tonight. Police are still looking for the gunman who shot an Athens man in his own home. I'm Gigi Kwan. Let's go straight to Grady Newsource reporter Anaya Gibson. Anaya, have police learned any new information in the last 24 hours?
It's a keynote recording. It's not a PowerPoint presentation where you're gonna go like enter, enter, enter. Yeah, it's.
Millions of families around the country are concerned about school safety. The concern have parents and school system taking measures to keep their kids safe. Grady Newsource reporter Amanda Regan showed you how one local elementary school is using police officers and a little bit of music to make community feel a little more secure.
With a little bit of dancing and laughing, Colham Ferry Elementary School students get their day started right as soon as they get dropped off.
To be able to open the door and serve and get the children out, kind of that safety and for the parents, but also just to give the children a good view of the police.
Police officer Kevin Hines didn't always spend his mornings like this. He once was a chaplain for the University of Georgia. Now, his full-time commitment is serving in a different way.
We have a great relationship with the community regardless, but I think this is just another way that we can serve and be real and authentic to this community.
This was the second time in the last 2 weeks that the police department helped with the carpool line, but their help doesn't stop there.
They come about every couple of weeks just in different capacities. Sometimes they help out with lunchroom duty in the lunchroom. They're involved in our lockdown drills too. So that's just another way that they help kind of serve us and make sure that we're as safe as can be. The parents love it, the kids love it, puts a smile on their faces as they walk in each day.
They've taken ownership to kind of come to the school as much as possible to kind of alleviate the stigma of police to children, you know, being scary and very authoritative. And just to kind of show the kids that the police are here to support and to help care for them.
With school shootings happening around the country, these officers' involvement with the school not only brings comfort to the parents, but also to themselves.
That's why we're here. We're here to serve, and hopefully that doesn't happen. Lord, I pray every day that God will give us a great day, a safe day, and that He'll keep anything like that from Walkersville, Georgia, because it can go bad real quick.
Amanda Regan, Grady Newsource.
Officers go back to school from time to time to maintain their relationship with parents and kids. Anxiety, stress, insecurity. If you feel this when it comes to finding a new job, you're not alone. Celeste Springer joined us live from the University of Georgia's Career Fair inside Tate Grand Hall with more on get past your fears and land on your dream job.
The career fair is wrapping up behind me, but a lot of these employers have been here all day long networking with students. I talked to them about some key tips and tricks for you next time you find yourself at one of these booths.
Candidate, like what they're looking for, what qualifications they want specifically.
These are questions that sometimes seem impossible to answer. Ballard Akaway is a third-year student at UGA, and like the 3.2% of Georgians who are unemployed, knowing what employers want is critical.
When we look at different candidates and so forth, number one, a competitive spirit, a little bit of a competitive spirit, that gets into that raising your hand, kind of playing into the yes person, I'm willing to try this, do this. And being, wanting to kind of stand out in the crowd.
In a room of pressed blazers and silk ties, separating yourself from a crowd sounds scary. What's even harder, making yourself stand out on your resume. I talked to some employers here at the career fair about what makes a good resume. They told me above all else, you need to make sure that you don't have any spelling errors, any grammatical errors, or else this resume is going straight to the garbage. And these employers say, don't be afraid to get creative when it comes to networking.
If you send me or probably any one of the panelists a LinkedIn message or email with your resume or asking to meet, you're probably not going to get that far. However, if you find a recent grad, right, that's part of an organization, and you invite them for coffee, it's only going to cost you about $4, and you build a connection with them, and they pass your resume to me, we're going to take a look.
For Grady Newsource, I'm Celeste Springer.
As of December, there are 6.4 million jobs opening in the United States, which is good news for anyone searching for a job. The best careers are tied to education. That's why one organization in Barrow County works to make sure they beat the state average in getting the people that live there a high school education or a GED. Grady Newsource reporter Brief Wood shows you how this program can make the difference in earning $200 less a week or making your own business dreams come true.
You can see here when it comes to people finishing high school, Barrow County does better than the state. And that's because of a literacy program there. But why does that matter? I had numbers, they're just not popping up right now. Less than a high school diploma, you're gonna be at the lower end of the earning scale. Finishing up high school or getting a GED equivalent substantially increases your median weekly earnings. That's why Barrow County focuses so much on educational programs like this.
We see everyone from 16-year-old students to, I believe my oldest student was 73.
Lisa Prescott isn't teaching swimming classes, but general education development classes, better known as your GED. With high school graduation rates climbing in Georgia, you can see Clark County has the lowest graduation rate in this 6-county area. In fact, it's the only county that performs below Georgia's state average of 82%. Barrow does better than that, but Prescott wants everyone to have a chance.
Getting your GED is one of the most important things you can do in order to move on with your life. It's a stepping stone or a springboard to bigger and better things.
The success of continuing education programs in Georgia counties began 30 years ago, when the state launched the Certified Literate Community Program.
In response to a very high rate of illiteracy in the adult population.
The product were programs like this. These are the doors you would walk through if you were seeking classes to obtain your GED. Adult Literacy Bureau in Winder works in partnership with Lanier Technical College. These books stamped on their wall and the numbers painted within them represent the more than 2,000 students they have helped earn their GEDs.
We can usually accommodate pretty much any schedule.
As an agriculture education major, John Anderson knows it can change lives.
Yeah, I mean, I've had actually family members go back and get GEDs or not graduate traditionally, and they've gone on to create their own businesses.
Bree Wolf, Grady Newsource.
If you know of anyone that needs to complete their high school education by earning a GED, you can start by going to bestgedclasses.org to find a program in your area. Something you may be doing to stay healthy may not do you much good. And that's okay, because if you needed the product, you can't find it.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where'd the cats go on vacation? New York.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sorry, in early time we had some difficulties for Anaya Gibson's story. And now let's look at her story tonight.
Right now, the shooting is still under investigation. Now, what that means today is that detectives are questioning the witnesses. They're trying to find out who shot 24-year-old Raymar McDonald. McDonald was in his home on Westwood Drive in Athens when the shots rang out. Multiple bullet holes were found on both sides of the duplex. He was taken to the hospital, but he survived non-life-threatening wounds. If you have any information about the incident, the ACCPD says to contact Detective Scott Black at 762-400-7058 or email him at scott.black@accgov.com. Assaults like this obviously concern victims, police officers, and the entire community. Last night, I attended the event where former Sheriff Sergeant Robert Hare announced he would run for Athens Clarke County Sheriff. It may have been a political event, but mental health and the well-being of everyone in the community was the hot topic.
There's a new sheriff in town. Okay? I love that phrase. I've always wanted to say that. I've always wanted to say that.
Robert Hare's announcement that he would run for sheriff ended with a laugh, but the topics he discussed as part of his platform were deadly serious. Officer training, inmate and officer safety and security, and morale.
That sheriff's office is the community. 85% of the current inmate population's family lives in this community.
For overtime, that was very intense while I was there. It got to where it was an option. If you need overtime, you can have it. To, hey, we're going to do 1 a month, to 3 a month, 4 to 5, and it got kind of tiring.
Well, we're trying to get him to the door and get him to turn himself in and put the weapon down. I mean, first we didn't know he had the gun, and he told us he has the gun. And one of my partners, we're right there in front of the place, and he mentioned the person's name, and he goes, "I'm not afraid to die." And a couple seconds later, he pulls the trigger. The first round went right through the roof and sprayed, the debris on top of my head. Second, unfortunately, went, he shot himself. He did survive.
The next few days were rough.
It took the sheriff's office 2 days to contact me and contact my partner. "Hey, are you okay? Do you need employee assistance? Do you need somebody to talk to?" And I was like, "No, we're good. And I'm thinking to myself, where were you 2 days before? Why didn't you call us then? When I'm up all night checking on my children to make sure they're okay." Because, that's a traumatic experience.
And correction officers nationwide has increased between 2016 and 2019, with just 21 reported suicides in 2020 thus far. The National Alliance on Mental Illness also reports that law enforcement officers suffer from things such as much higher rates of depression, PTSD, burnout, alcohol abuse, and other anxiety-related mental health conditions.
Safety and security is key, because if the officers don't feel safe, the inmates don't feel safe, and then nobody's safe.
Anaya Gibson, Grady Newsource.
You used to see surgical masks in near every drugstore, but try and find one now. Customers in fear the coronavirus have cleaned out the supply, not just here in Athens, but around the country. But one local pharmacist says there's probably a better way to protect yourself, and a local disease expert agrees.
They've been flying off the shelves since the coronavirus went public.
Raven Neves is the owner and the pharmacist of Hudson Pharmacy, where she used to stock her surgical masks. Now she only has the Modus mask left. There are still so much unknown, so people find wearing the face mask might protect themselves.
I've had 3 people this week come in trying to ship the face masks to China.
Jose Cadero is the Epidemiology and Biostatistics department head at the University of Georgia. He said the masks generally don't matter anyway.
Whether they would work in terms of preventing infections from others. The answer is, and the evidence is that's not really.
Raven Neves offers another option.
Maybe getting a flu shot might even be a better choice all the way around.
If you want to keep up with the news about the outbreak, you can go to cdc.gov and who.int.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with the hottest news in Georgia sports.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill, Donate stuff, create jobs.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
My name is Ethan Monteagudo, and I took a closer look at how the University of Georgia baseball team is using technology to improve player performance and prevent injury. Associate Athletic Trainer Sean Bolin uses technology to help baseball players rehab and prepare for competition, all at the same time.
Things like virtual reality now give us the capability to put a VR headset on somebody while they're rehabbing and put them in an augmented reality situation to where if they have a wrist injury, they can be virtually looking at a pitch coming at them. So that allows them to kind of do baseball or do activity before their physical ailment will allow them to.
Virtual reality isn't the only piece of technology at Bolin's disposal.
We've got a couple of different programs that are iPad based that allow us to look at muscle contraction quality. So if I'm doing a bicep curl, it'll tell me percentage wise how much of the muscle is contracting. So post-surgically, again, as the nerves are waking up from surgery, it allows us to see how well are they contracting that muscle. Right. There are plenty of balance type platforms that look at pressure sensors under your feet. How well are you putting weight through your right leg versus your left?
As some of the technology is just now being implemented, Sean says the possibilities are endless.
For us, this place, the University of Georgia, is wonderful in the fact that they're willing to go out on a limb a little bit and allow us to have some creative leeway, if you will, to spend a little bit of money and see if we can make the athletes better by using some of these things that maybe we weren't taught in school or aren't traditional sports medicine pieces. If you would have told me when I was in school a couple of years ago that, you know, a virtual reality headset would become part of rehab, it wouldn't have made sense.
The possibility for other creative applications of this technology are still at their infant stages. The University of Georgia softball team is in Florida right now. The team's set to play in the St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational. Maybe it'll be easier for them to beat their opponents than it is for me to say the name of the tournament. Their first game begins tomorrow at 12 against Kansas. The Lady Dogs also knocked off the Georgia State Panthers with a convincing 10-1 victory over the weekend. They're now sitting at a shiny 6-0 on the season. Men's baseball kicks off its season tomorrow at Foley Field. The Dogs will host the Richmond Spiders at 5. Make sure you bring your bug spray. Men's basketball fell short once again with a 75-59 loss to the South Carolina Gamecocks, evening their record to 12-12 on the season. The UGA Athletic Board convened for its winter meeting yesterday. Student athletes Rodrigo Blankenship, Elena Christofi, Jordan Stout, and Walker Higgins are all considered strong nominees for a few awards according to the press release. Blankenship and Christofi are being considered for the SEC's Boyd McWhirter Scholarship, while Stout and Higgins are up for the Brad Davis Community Service Awards. Now for some updates on the sports world of Northeast Georgia. Jefferson High School Wrestling looks to add to the trophy case as the GHSA State Tournament begins today and wraps up on the 15th. If Jefferson claims another championship, that would mean a whopping 23, yes, I said 23 titles for the program. Matches will be held at the Macon Centraplex with an entry fee of $14, but if you're feeling frugal, purchase the 3-day tourney pass for just $34. Finally, playoff basketball begins this weekend as both men's and women's teams across Georgia hope to make their dreams of a state title come true. My name is Ethan Monteagudo, and this is Grady Sports.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Is the seat supposed to be forward-facing or rear-facing? Did they move to a booster seat too soon? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Don't think you know. Know you know.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, you know? My sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90-mile-per-hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
The weather.
I'm Anna Catherine Alderman here with your Grady Newsource weather. We've seen a lot of rain here in Northeast Georgia, and that's contributing to a lot of water on the road. So if you're driving, make sure you watch out for that. Also have your forecast for tomorrow and your 5-day forecast. Tonight here in Athens, it'll be mostly cloudy, and your overnight low will be 37, but it won't get that cold until after midnight. Tomorrow it'll be clear skies and sunny. Be 41 at 9, 49 at noon, and then at 3 it'll be about 54. Your 5-day forecast here in Athens, it'll be, as I said, your low overnight is 37, and then tomorrow it'll be clear skies and sunny for Valentine's Day, a high of 55 and a low of 30. So if you're going out tomorrow night, make sure you bring a jacket. Saturday, clear skies and sunny. Sunday, it'll be cloudy in the morning, but sunny Sunday afternoon, and then cloudy Monday as well. I'm Anna Catherine Alderman. This has been your weather.
Hello. Hi. I'm from Blue Hood Stone Barns. We brought a meal for you, and I'm here to serve it to you.
Okay, great. Come in.
Zucchini carbonara, made from zucchini that was harvested earlier this morning.
Again?
Hey, Dan Barber.
You have room for a little bit more?
Come
on in.
Brochettes with sausage. So when we made that zucchini carbonara, you know, they're the end pieces of the zucchini, and they're the cores that we cut away. Not to mention zucchini flour. Usually those get thrown out. We use them to create an entire second dish. Does that, oh.
Again?
I'm here to bring you your third course. It's the vines from your zucchini.
We'll have a little zucchini stem pasta. A different experience of zucchini. When we start to think differently about our food, we can get a lot more out of it.
This is delicious.
What do you think we can make out of this? 40% of food in America is never eaten. Cook it, store it, share it. Visit SaveTheFood.com.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Laughing too hard at one of your colleagues' jokes at the office party? He's not even funny. Warning sign, those drinks are probably going to your head. Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high-five.
And that's our show. Remember, the news doesn't stop here. Early in the show, you saw a clip from Grady Newsource reporter Jack Binder about the changes implemented at a local animal shelter. To see this story, visit GradyNewsource.com. Thank you for joining us. I'm Gigi Kwan. Have a great night.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
This is the Grady Newsource post-show critique.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Rachel. I was the SPM for today. And can we turn the audio off the TV, please? No, it's this TV. It's can we mute it on this remote? Is that good? I think we're good. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, and Josiah directed today. And today's show was definitely a little bit of a mess, and part of that was some missed punches on our end, but also a lot of it was I don't think we had really a single package in, and I know that was because like technically it had been exported, but they were in the wrong folders, and there's like a folder system for a reason, and like it's all listed right there at your desks. But it's really difficult when we're not able to set up shots at 4:30 like we're supposed to. We're really supposed to have all of our packages imported into TriCaster at 4:30, and we didn't really have anything in until 4:50. So when we were putting in things last minute, when we have to record things last minute, when really pre-recording is supposed to end at 3:30, obviously things come up, we understand, but just it was a very chaotic day. We were very short-staffed today. It was just me SPMing, and we only had like 6 people on crew, and we normally have like 10 or 12. So that combined with just everything being late today and last minute changes, that just sort of creates chaos on our end. And just a few quick notes. Packages, they need to be the right aspect ratio, otherwise you're going to have like black bars on either side. Audio for like interviews and stuff really needs to be balanced out with the rest of your packages, otherwise our audio person is going to have to like ride it up and down, and it's going to sound just very messy. I think those were really the 2 biggest things. Other than that, thank you to Mary for communicating with us during the show. But yeah, just when it gets hectic and things are changing, make sure that really the most important thing is that the director hears everything so that he can communicate it out to all of our crew. But yeah, thank you guys. And then
I would say the only things as far as during the show for packages,
make sure when you're exporting, like when you're editing like a package or a bundle of packages together, to go over it and make sure you're exporting it correctly. Also, again, the aspect ratio thing. Getting all of the pre-recording done on time is very important, so we can set up shots and rehearse the punching through the show. The missed punches were on me. That's my fault. But it's very helpful to have the show done on time so that we can practice. And also, great job communicating, Mary. That's it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Josiah. So, guys, I'm not going to beat the dead horses. You know what you need to do. Some of the mistakes they were like, meh. But we've got gold here today for you guys. So that's what we're going to get to. These are people who are going to hire you. And if they don't hire you, I promise you they come from, we've got people here from Tegna today. Next door, I know, Gray, Scripps. So representing, you know, everyone, practically. So they need to do the talking, and you guys do the listening, and you would have to pay giant money to get this. So I want to thank you, Chip, thank you, Candace, thank you, Jean, thank you, Shakira, for being here today. I know it's a long trip for all of you, but as you all know, they're worth it, or they will be. Give them time. So, Shakira, why don't we start with you, because Shakira is our most recent grad. I'm going to put my mic on this desk because I got nothing for you. They have everything, and you guys may have questions. Pass this around. As weird as it looks, you know, I don't like this. What are you going to do? All right?
All right, so who was the producer today? Who was
Me.
the EP? Okay, you and it was another girl, right? Just you?
Oh,
okay, so when did you guys notice that one of the package leads wasn't in?
one of the which package lead?
So the lead was in. So the reporter didn't write the lead, is what I'm asking.
Which story was that?
Did you not write your package lead?
No, my lead was a part of my package.
Gosh.
That's right.
But there still needs to be
Stand
a.
up open. The lead, they read the lead, but then she produced her stand up open and used the wrong copy.
But which the anchor said something about a technical difficulty or something like that? Was that
Yeah.
your package?
Yes, that was my package in the beginning. I didn't cut it all the way to where I was getting started on the breaking news coverage because of the shooting. And so when we came back for lead block, that's where it started, the breaking news, where there was a shooting, and then it went into my package. So all of that was edited.
Gotcha.
And we didn't pull the right lead here. We didn't pull it again.
Was wondering when. That's why I was like, could y'all write her a lead real quick? Which is why I asked.
Yeah.
Can you write her a lead? But as a producer, you should be able to. The anchor should never say, "Oh, there's a technical difficulty," especially if you guys noticed that there was no lead. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't ever want to put your anchor in that position to be like, "Oh, there was a technical difficulty, but here's her story." You should have been able. One of y'all should have been able to write her something, or she should have written something for the anchor to say to lead into her package. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so for your package, I feel like your intro was a little weird, and it was like way too long. It was too many like pauses. When did the shooting happen?
Shooting happened 30 to 40 minutes before we went live.
Okay, did y'all not have a live pack to go live at the shooting? When did the shooting happen today?
The shooting happened today, right?
So what I'm asking is, how come you weren't on scene?
At the shooting, oh no, the shooting didn't happen today. The shooting happened on Tuesday. I thought you meant shooting video.
Gotcha.
The shooting happened on Tuesday, but the new report was that it was still under investigation. The detectives are looking for him. The suspect is still unknown. We're trying to update that.
So, did you have any video from the shooting?
No.
Why not?
Yeah.
You should have went out to the scene, is what I'm saying. So, when in your package, it was just a talking head. It was kind of weird, because I was like, okay, did she go to the shooting? Was it not here? Was it in Mexico? Why didn't you go to the shooting? Also, did you have a mugshot?
No, there's no mugshot because the suspect is still unknown.
Gotcha, okay. So, there should have been video, is what I'm saying, because the video was your package was kind of weird. Also, your intro was a little long. You didn't come in, your reporter track didn't come in until late. And like I said, and your stand-up should have been re-recorded because you kind of messed up in it. Okay, the coronavirus package, that was you. There was no need for a saw open right there. I can't even remember what she said because it wasn't good, but her saw open was good because it was like there's a new sheriff in town, like that. You also didn't have any B-roll. I know we have access to CNN Newsource, don't y'all? Should have been some B-roll of some kind of the virus. I know there's B-roll out there because we use it in our show.
Masks in China.
Should have been. I mean, the airport's closing. There's people. It shouldn't have been just two people talking. You could have did a stand-up or something. I don't know. People here at Grady with masks on. I don't know. Also, don't tell people to go to a website that's not yours. You want to put your website into. You want to put that website into the website article. You want to lead people to your website and then out. Sports reporter, where's your tie, man?
I don't have it on.
You need something other than a short sleeve shirt, unless you're outside doing a live shot. Also for your video, for your package, the video was pretty shaky. Did you not have a tripod, or did you hold the tripod?
What parts are you referring to?
The VR package that you did for baseball.
Yeah, but are there specific cuts that you're referring to?
The part about the. Can y'all pull up his package, please? There was a camera. There was two parts in there that was pretty shaky, but I noticed it and I kind of just looked away because it was really weird. Okay, for the besides your package, when you were just doing your readers, there was no video, there was no graphics, so it was kind of weird. You were just like, the UGA track team is running and they're trying to get first place. Pause. Rodrigo Blankenship is doing so and so and so and so and so and so. You could have pictures of the athletes.
Will you send in the pictures of the athletes? I don't know.
So does sports not do their own graphics anymore?
No, we were doing our own graphics and they were sent in and I had them in small tree. And I talked to Cantrell when I didn't see him up there, but we had photos of all the athletes that were pre-approved from the athletic department from UGA.
Okay,
So if I may just very, very quickly, it is a good idea to just kind of listen and not say, but this happened, but this happened. Because I would just tell you what a dear friend of mine, God rest her soul, Carol Newman, once said, run a crawl. The audience saw what the audience saw, and this is what they're trying to tell you. Okay?
So just for next time, do you want to be a sports reporter?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Well, then that makes sense. But still, you still want to put on a good show, a good news.
Of course.
So next time for another package, whatever you do, just make sure you. I mean, I know y'all can make your own graphics here. Always have graphics, because you were talking about NCAA softball. You just had a softball there. It was kind of weird. Like, I was tired of watching you, essentially. So graphics, even if you don't want to do it, graphics. Who does want to be a reporter? Who doesn't want to be a reporter?
Who does want to be? Yeah.
You want to be a reporter? They said something about your live shot not being up at a certain time.
It wasn't?
Was your live shot not up? Did
I think they
did I
mean
mishear that?
we were a little late getting you to the live shot, but when you went live, everything was on time.
Live shot was fine. Now, you didn't have a tag for your live shot. What was up with that?
The tag.
Like, she didn't sign off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in her package, she signed off, but it was kind of weird that she had a live shot.
That's not her fault. That's my fault. I cut the tag because I had her going live and signing off in the live.
Gotcha.
So I didn't want to then come back to the studio and sign off again. So that's me.
Okay, so what I was taught, and I want to make sure that this was right. If you go live and you do a package, you don't have to tag out in your package. You tag out the live shot.
If you come back to the live shot, but you know, it's a producer can make a decision. Hey, I'm not coming back live. I did a live video, and I'm going to go back to the set, and in which case you would.
I didn't got used to doing it a certain way.
Those decisions.
Cool. Okay, well, everybody, I mean, y'all did good. This is y'all's third week.
The fifth show.
It's y'all's fifth show, and y'all can't get packages in on time? Man, you treating them really nice. You used to cut our stuff.
Shakira used to, in this class 2 years ago, was the reporter that I told you about that went to the Capitol every day in Atlanta, 6 in the morning, and did live shots once by herself from the Capitol.
But you used to cut people's stuff if it wasn't in on time. You're right. Well, that was it. Everybody did pretty good. Cut your intro just a little shorter. It looked like a tag. I didn't see your stuff. What were you doing today?
I did the police officer.
Gotcha. What'd you do? You did the, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm good.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So I had some of the same notes that Shakira
Yes.
had, and then just some other broad things that I noticed. So when you started out in the top of the show, when there's a mistake, as an anchor, don't be afraid to go ahead and say, sorry, we're experiencing some difficulty, and then go to the next story. And then on the producer end, let her know in her ear, such and such, we're going to such and such next, and make sure that you're really vocal in the control room, letting them know what we're doing next, type of thing. Another thing too, so when you had your live shot, I noticed that your headphones were kind of hanging a little bit. So either the producer or the director, if you guys see that, just don't be afraid to say, hey, tuck it in, we want you to look good on air, kind of thing. Because we don't want to have you on air, with stuff hanging. It's kind of distracting. I'm not paying attention to you, I'm paying attention to what's hanging from your dress, type of thing. Another thing too, so I think you said you had the Watkinsville package. Yeah, so I noticed you had the same person, I guess he was the sheriff, talking about school safety. So it's always good to have the official there to kind of give you the information, but what I probably would have done with that package is taken maybe some parents or someone who's involved with the school who's maybe impacted by what that sheriff's office is doing, maybe talk to them and kind of get their perspective and what they think about it versus just going after the official. It's always easy to talk to the official, but you're really going to get your good stories and your good characters from people in the school or people who are just directly impacted by what your story is about. So think about that when you're, when you guys are doing your packages, that you are trying to kind of character build and story tell with some of these stories. I'm trying to remember what else I had. Oh, so I think similar thing, just with sports or really any, when you're having multiple elements, put as many graphics as you can in there to produce it up. And I don't know what your studio setup is like, but you don't necessarily have to keep the anchor on the desk the entire time. If there are opportunities to do an OTS or like a bullet point graphic on the side or full, there's ways to produce it up, because you gotta keep in mind people are used to being on their phones, they're used to being on different platforms, and just their eyes are always used to stimulation. So you don't necessarily want to have just the same sort of wallpaper video up going over and over again. You want to give them something different to look at, sort of like see and say type thing. If I'm talking about such and such person on the football team or the track person, show that person. I'm trying to think of what else. I think that was primarily what some of the notes that I saw that were a little bit different from what you had.
I'm going to build on what Candace just said, which is about there's a difference between a report and a story. And I saw a lot of reports today. Now, again, you're just now getting into this. The difference between a report and a story, to me, is building a story around a character. So you took on some really good issues, right? We were I had the chance to be in your morning meeting today and talking about the sheriff and the mental health. And that was, that guy who spoke is a deputy, and the guy who's running for office both had some compelling stories about that. But to make them from where they were into characters, well, we need to see a little about their life. I mean, could you have gotten anybody out of that room? And sometimes you can't do this on deadline, but anything planned is better, where you can say, hey, can I meet you at work one day? Can I walk? Can I see what you're doing, even if I'm just going to ride along for an hour or follow you somewhere and watch? And when you find a character, the video you shoot gets a lot easier. You're assuming you're learning about, a kind of a wide, medium, tight type of format where I'm showing an establishing shot, then I'm showing how your body, your top half of your body fits into the shot, and finally I'm looking at me holding this microphone, because that's important to this part of the story right now. But you're getting the detail of those person's actions and how those person's actions in the moment set up that person's challenge. That's the story. What's this person trying to accomplish, right? And helping me visualize as a viewer why this challenge is important and what steps this character takes every day to get to what he's trying to get. In this case, it's better mental health. In the mask story, the closest thing we really had to a character was the pharmacist who owns a store who can't keep a mask in stock, but she's only at best kind of a peripheral character. Who might have a challenge in not having a mask? Well, I'm not sure if you're going to run into a customer who is looking for a mask and can't find one. And by the way, this customer's desperate to find a mask because she believes that the mask is going to help save her kid, or There's a quest there. She's going around town trying to find a mask, and she can't find one. Or the UPS guy, for some reason, I don't know what that would have turned into because it's interesting. I never thought about that. But the UPS guy says, I'm shipping these things to China. Why? I know they can't get them there, but is that cool that we're shipping the masks that we can't get here to China? I just kind of things you think about, right? But any which way of those, you got a character, perhaps, who's actually experiencing the story firsthand. In the sports package, you know, the character, the one we heard from most was the AR/VR guy, the guy with the technology, right? And he's so he's close to being a character. He's kind of interesting. He's trying to help the players solve a problem. But a player who's rehabbing might have been a better character to build around. If he was gonna, hey, are you gonna meet with one of these players today? You know, oh yeah, I got a baseball guy who's on our injured list right now, and he's coming in at 3 o'clock. That's the guy with the challenge. The guy with the challenge is the guy who can't get back on the field because he's got a pulled hamstring or because something else is bad. But yet he's trying to keep his skills sharp, and basically you're watching him experience his rehab through his training. So you get a story from a character. None of the great stories, whether it be Shakespeare or anything that you read currently, they all are based on compelling characters. And so as you go through putting your stories together, you'll hear a guy like Boyd Hooper, who's an amazing reporter out of Minneapolis, Care TV in Minneapolis. And he'll tell you that when he and his photographer get to a story, they spend the first 20 minutes, assuming it's not a breaking story, they'll spend the first 20 minutes, both of them, maybe even separating. They're just trying to find the character. And once one of them said, I got a person, then the story is not about the report. Yes, you'll get details about the report into your story. But the story becomes your story. I want to tell a story about you. Why are you caring about this? And I'm going to learn about your life. I'm going to learn about why are you here today. And the stories all of a sudden get very personal. And then my shooting will get more personal too. I'm not shooting wide shots of nothing. I'm shooting her in intimate shots of her, wide, medium, tight, her hands, her face, her looking at something. And the story gets much more personal around her. So when you have a story you're assigned, a question you can ask around your table in the morning is, who's your character? And how will you build this story around the character? You'll find yourself cutting out a lot of less important information, a lot of less important photography, and focusing on something that people are more likely to remember because they'll care about the person you profiled. They'll care about that person. And you'll wind up with much better reels because you'll remember, I remember that story we did about that lady? That's what you'll remember, not the fact that there was a mass shortage and a coronavirus, right? That'll come and go. But the character you'll stick with if you do a good job telling that story. So.
Awesome points. Focus on the basics, okay? There were some nice attempts today to unbundle a story and to utilize graphics at the interactive monitor to tell various pieces of the story or the report, right? And so taking those individual pieces and asking questions about what makes this unbundling of the story special, or how do I highlight a particular portion of that report, right? So this part would make sense on a graphic. This part would make sense as an anchor VOSOT to set it up. This might be good as an anchor full screen or a half screen with some bullet points or something. And then you start boiling it down to your point, which is when you're thinking about being greedy about the best stuff for your reel, to make it, first of all, honor whoever this character is or this subject is, and to do right by them and your responsibility to the story you're telling about their life, limiting the scope of what you're trying to achieve and narrowing the focus to a very crystallized single idea is what you should be proposing to yourself when you're hitting the street. So your story isn't about the coronavirus. Your story is about one woman's quest to find a single mask. That's your package. However you decide to get into that with an anchor setup or some sort of stats about the latest cases in a full screen tag or something like that, offload all that stuff to the anchor. Let them handle that if you need some sort of setup or some sort of context. But I would much rather see you give me in a package, right, with your central character, 40 seconds of awesome instead of 2 minutes of okay. And if you concentrate on the basics, which are who's the hero of my story, who's the villain of my story, and if it's not necessarily a person, sometimes it could be an issue, you know, the specter of no masks is the villain of my story. The hero of my story is the woman seeking in her quest to find a mask, right? And all the other stuff doesn't matter for the package. You may need it for context, correct? But if you narrow down that focus to that star, that hero, that villain, right? And every hero wants something. They want to achieve their dream. They want to achieve their quest. And so you meet the hero, you learn what their quest is, and then obstacles get put in the way of the hero. Villains' actions get put in the way of the hero's actions to achieve the quest. Beginning, middle, and what's the end? The lady finds her mask. End. Does that make sense? Or she doesn't. Right. Exactly. So beginning, middle, and end. So your package is, you know, focus on thinking to yourself, what's my beginning? What's my middle? What's my end? Who's my hero? Who's my villain? And then the mechanism by which you tell that story is consistent across the board. Natural sound, sequences of video. You discipline yourself to shoot wide, medium, close, move. Shoot wide, medium, close, move. Shoot wide, medium, close, move. And every time you move, you say, can I capture a piece of natural sound from this particular location? Zoom with your feet instead of the zoom lens whenever you can. Alter the perspective of the camera to capture the most compelling images. Is it a straight-on framing? Is it a low-angle framing? Is it a high-angle framing? So if you do that and you come back, then you've got 4 sequences from 4 different locales about your hero, about your villain. You've got 3 natural sound breaks. And then you look at the stuff you have and you sketch it out in a rough draft in your mind. You're like, or you, better yet, when you're on the scene, you're saying, I've got one hole in my story here, and I have no sound for that, and I have no video for that. What is that going to, what part of the story, or what tool are you going to use to tell that part of the story? That's where your stand-up goes. Stand-up is utilized a lot of times the easy way to figure out how to, if you're, some news directors will require you to have a stand-up in your story to show presence, right? So you figure out, I'm only going to put a stand-up in my story to illustrate a point where I don't have video to tell the story and I don't have a soundbite to tell that part of the story. So it fits in naturally. It helps you get from one part of the story to the other. Does that make sense? So these are basic concepts, but what I'm kind of where I'm going with you is there are hints of that in what we saw today. So I'd write this down on a 3x5 index card, and I'd take it with me to every story, and I'd write check marks. Do I have an opening nat sound break? Is that nat sound break accompanied by a 3-shot sequence, wide, medium, close? Am I then going to introduce my hero in the first 5 to 7 second sound bite so I get the kernel, or at least I'm alluding to what the quest is, right? And then I get another nat sound break and I'm into my second sequence and I fully explain then what the quest is, right? And then boom, the first obstacle hits that quest. Does that make sense? So break down your package and put a number on it. I mean, you might say, I'm going to get, every package I do is going to be 40 seconds long. It's going to have 5 sequences of wide, medium, close, and I'm going to have 3 nat sound breaks and 2 sound bites. You know, I'm going to have 3 sound bites, 2 sound bites from the hero and 1 from the villain, and I'm going to have a stand-up. Just put together a shopping list, because what that's going to help you do if you structure it like that and you discipline yourself to do that every way, every time, is you're superimposing a structure on the story. You may get to the scene and something wonderful happens in front of your lens. And you're like, okay, well, I'm throwing out the rule book here because something amazing just happened in front of the camera. And I'm lucky enough to have captured it. So my whole approach to the story has changed because that's the lead shot of the story. My whole, the whole story just changed in front of my eyes. What a serendipitous gift the universe just gave me, right? More often than not, if you're going to some sort of political rally or something, you know, the gold you got was, and there's a new sheriff in town, and you led with it. That was great, you know. But mechanically, week to week, consistently, you rep this pattern, right? And so what you're going to do, and this would apply to any sort of a discipline, is you learn the rules, you master the rules, you break the rules. But if you learn the rules and you master the rules, you come back every day to this room and you cut your package in record time, and then you start to realize, I'm kind of in a little bit of a rut here because I'm forcing all of my packages into this structure. So tomorrow when I go out, how am I going to surprise the viewer with something unexpected? But what you're doing then, you've already established a rock solid foundation which you're standing on. You're not winging it every time you go out. You know, 3 nap sound breaks, 4 to 5 sequences of video, 3 sound bites and a stand-up. That's my shopping list. And how am I going to put all that together? So does that make sense to you guys the way I'm explaining that? So in the absence of a very specific request from a producer, a showrunner, your instructor, superimpose rules and discipline upon yourself so that you can rep your own set of standards to learn the rules, master the rules, and then before this semester's over, you'll be breaking the rules with every package you turn. You will have created excellence in yourself in storytelling. Does that make sense the way I'm kind of repping that? Yeah. So that's my contribution.
I would say one more thing, and that I was, he boiled it down into a formula that you guys can take out tomorrow and do that. And if you take that index card, like you said, it's a shopping list. You'll find yourself save a lot of time out in the field, and you'll come back confident knowing you have everything you need to put together a story. You may forget something and wish you had gotten that. That'll always be a regret, but you'll have what you need to get a story on the air, and that will satisfy you. You don't have to go out. You don't have to go back out and get something. So that's key. And the other thing is, and you guys are again in your early shows here. Are there systems in place that today you guys just didn't follow, or do you need to create new systems for this team?
That's our